King, here comes the big number one.
822 at the Big 550 KTRS. I am Paul Harris with Kelly Jackson. And we're joined now by Dan Jansen, who's an assistant brewmaster for Anheuser-Busch. Came over here from the brewery to promote a big event they've got coming up on Friday night.
Morning.
Dan, welcome to the Big
me.
550. It's a pleasure having you here.
Thank you. Thanks for having me this morning.
Kelly, try to wait a few minutes before you pop the shock tops. Okay?
Look, it's just like nice and icy and ready to drink.
Yeah, it's got a born-on date of 8/19. not August 19th, but 8/19 this morning. Calm down.
Okay.
So, Dan, what do you have coming up Friday night?
Yeah, Friday night's going to be a wonderful event. It's going to be a Biergarten beer tasting with food and beer pairings. Brewmasters like myself will be out there talking about the beers we have and the foods they're going to be paired with. We'll talk about the quality ingredients and get a chance to interact with the people, talk about the processes that we use to make those beers. Should be a lot of fun.
How many different beers does Budweiser Anheuser-Busch make now?
Man, it's hard to keep track anymore. It's a big number. I mean, more than 50. So
More than 50
yeah.
different.
Wow.
And how many, if somebody comes up to you and pop quizzes you on any of those 50 on Friday night, how many of them can you do off the top of your head?
I can speak pretty well to the beers that we brew at the St. Louis Brewery, so 40 plus.
Wow.
Beers. Yep.
Okay. All right. So when people come on Friday night, will there be one kind of beer here and one kind of beer here and one kind of beer there?
Yeah, so we're going to do 5 different stations, and there's going to be a different food paired with 3 different beers at each of the stations. So, and one of the stations is only going to have 2 beers. So we'll have unique to the Biergarten station, where we'll feature Faust, which is a pre-Prohibition style lager for us. It's sort of a throwback to celebrate the 250th anniversary of St. Louis, a really unique beer we did. It was originally brewed by Adolphus Busch in 1884 for Tony Faust's Oyster House, which is sort of a legendary old-time St. Louis restaurant. And so to pay tribute to the 250th anniversary of St. Louis, we sort of brought it back. We went to our archival records and used made the recipe as close to that as we could.
Well, stop right there, because I was going to ask you, were there things they were putting in beer back in, 1884?
1884.
Were there things they were putting in beer 130 years ago that you can't put in beer today?
No, the ingredients were pretty much the same. They just weren't as descriptive or detailed in their record keeping as we are today.
It was like kind of handwritten. They just kind of...
Exactly. So it's a really nice, deep amber beer. It's got a lot of caramel malt in it and a really unique hop note. It's dry hopped with Hallertau hops, which not a lot of people are dry hopping beers with Hallertau. Hallertau is a pretty rare hop to use in that application. And so it gives it a really nice kind of lemony citrus note. It's a great example of a pre-Prohibition style lager.
Okay. And what other beers will be featured on Friday night?
Yeah, so we'll also have at that same unique to the Biergarten station, we'll have Budweiser Premium Draft, where it's sort of a unique pouring experience.
Should I? And do you want to pour for me?
Sure, absolutely.
Thank you.
Let's try Budweiser.
Is there, like in wine and everything, is there a certain way that you should pour the beers so you don't get so much
There
foam
is.
and
You
everything?
actually want a couple inches of foam, because the foam helps release the carbonation and makes the aromas come to the forefront more.
Oh.
So you want to sort of start out pouring down, just tilt the glass a little.
I want to make sure the mic is as close to you as possible, too, while you're doing this.
And then you want to straighten the glass out and
I didn't
pour
know you were
down
going to pour
the
the whole thing.
That way you get a nice color of foam.
I don't know if the camera caught all of that. You might have to pour her another one.
Okay.
I can pour one for myself. And we'll talk about how to taste a little bit.
I don't want to drink alone here.
Yeah, I'm sorry I can't join you.
That's okay.
Yeah. So when people are pouring down the top and trying not to have
Cheers.
any foam on top, they don't want that head at all?
No.
Or they're doing it wrong?
Yeah, because that gives you a flat beer, a little bit of a flatter tasting beer, and you don't release the aromas. So we worked hard to get the aromas from the hops and the yeast into that beer, and the foam helps bring them back out for you. Then when you taste the beer, you just first want to take notice. It's not just about your palate, about your tasting. First, you take notice of the clarity. So Budweiser is a bright Pilsner style beer, so it should be nice and clear. Then you sort of sniff the beer, and that gives you the aromas.
Kind of do that like, okay.
Yep, and then it's orthonasal.
Does beer have legs like wine does?
Some of the higher alcohol content beers might have some legs like wine does, but sort of a lager style that's 5% should be pretty crisp and clean, like Budweiser, and should cleanse the palate pretty quickly and leave you asking for more.
Okay.
This does leave me asking for more.
All right, I know that it does.
It's a beautiful color, and it's just delicious. It really is. Okay, let's try this other one.
Yeah, so we'll also have Chalk Top Lemon Shandy out there. And so a shandy's kind of a unique style in that the style is sort of a beer mixed with a lemonade. And so lemon shandy is our Belgian-style wheat beer mixed with some natural lemonade flavor. It's also got some orange peel and some spices in the brew. So it's a very interesting, great, refreshing summer beer. And it's also an unfiltered wheat beer. So the one difference with that is you want to pour a little and then leave a little in the bottom of the bottle and swirl the bottle. And that helps agitate the yeast that might have been settled out in the bottle.
And then chug that last bit?
No.
Before you drink the glass?
No, and then pour
you pour the rest in
the
there.
glass.
Yeah.
Okay, as a brewmaster, really, do you drink every day?
We have a quality control panel where we do taste panels every day, and we check all the beers that are in process. So that's how we make sure that we're getting the beers to our consumers in the freshest, best quality possible. So every batch of beer that leaves the brewery will taste between 4 and 5 times before it leaves the brewery. And so because there's so many batches in process, we'll taste every afternoon.
I have to ask you about the different glasses you're using here, because the first one, the glass that you used for the first bud that you poured was, I guess we could call that a kind of a Pilsner glass?
Yeah, so that's a Pilsner style glass. It's got a little bit of a shoulder on the neck or just a slope on the neck. That really helps bring the aromas.
But the second
forefront.
one's like a mason jar with a handle.
Yeah, that's having a little more fun, something to be a little summery, you know, sort of bring the summer style out
And
of
it
the
smells. I can smell the citrus.
beer. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it should have a lot of lemony flavor to
It
it. A lot of lemonade, lemon
Really
notes.
good.
All right, so Friday night, 7 to 10 p.m., they're having their first annual Biergarten Beer Fest. This is at the brewery, right?
Correct, right at the Tour Center. The beer garden's right next to the Tour Center. It's a great new facility, restaurant, bar, really great experience to go enjoy a beer.
Can't bring the kids, though. You got to be 21 or older.
21 and up, $25 for the regular ticket, which includes all the 5 tasting stations and 15 2-ounce samples of beer. And then it's $35 for the VIP ticket, which will walk you across the street and let you drink beer right out of the finished beer tank for that VIP experience. That's really fun.
And there's food to go along with all of this, right?
Right. Both of those tickets come with the 5 tasting stations. Though there's a beer garden slider, a bacon wrapped scallop, apple crisp, Caribbean jerk chicken, and barbecued rib.
Oh.
All right.
Yep.
So if you want to go, you can find out more by going to BudweiserTours.com. Friday night, 7 to 10 at the brewery. And we have a pair of tickets to give away. If you call me now at 314-969-KTRS, 888-550-KTRS, or star KTRS. Dan mentioned Faust Beer, which is brewed and only available at the AB Beer Garden and the brew house at Ballpark Village. He mentioned a 3-word phrase to describe the historical nature of that beer. What was that 3-word phrase? First person to know it gets the tickets for Friday night at the AB Beer Garden. Thanks so much for coming in here today.
Thanks for having me. I enjoyed it.
Assistant Brewmaster, and I'm not the one drinking, Assistant Brewmaster Dan Jansen here on McGraw Live in the Morning with Paul Harris and Kelly Jackson on the Big